How we doing, folks? How do we sound? The lounge is aqua. We are officially aqueous. Welcome to Indie Sunday, everybody. You might notice Love Love Truck is here again. Well, it's not Love Love Truck. We've been having some continual tech integration issues from our name service provider, who I might change after this. Hey, Cappy Bruh, welcome. Now, first game we're running tonight, I'll give it a little introduction, is a game, RMG, Rhythm Game Project, or Round Music Game. That's what RMG stands for. It's a game that I was privileged to be on the BFA committee for. Take these shades off. Keep sliding off my face. Alas. Sometimes things like sunglasses just don't work. The blue is intentional. It is intentional. It's always intentional, and it's always blue. Now, this is a cute little game. I thought its vibe was cool. I was privileged to, sit in on the development of it and sit in on the... Nojoto, you are the opposite of unobservant. You are the most observant. Just look at that. You were in the cut immediately. How are y'all doing today? And also, how's my volume compared to the game? Game's a bit quiet? Alright, I can fix that. How about that? I'm gonna die on purpose. Let's do that again. Very good. That was a quick clear. Oh, look at me. I'm in the credits. So I really liked this game, and it has a really simple thesis. And that is integrating kind of textural beats of moment-to-moment play with music enhances the interactive experience. This is something that I've had a lot of thoughts on for a long time, and about the relationship between music and games. Music and games are tightly interrelated. Also, what's a union phone call? Is it a literal thing? Regardless. Music and games do have an interesting relationship that is not necessarily literal. And this is kind of exploring the idea of sound's importance and the cadence of sound's importance and kind of the texture of sound's importance to the moment-to-moment direct twitch of the interface. Kinematics. Oop. Welcome. No ooping here. This is all part of the plan. If I can get... The only thing that's not part of the plan is our name service. Oh, wrong channel. Oh, I'm gonna stick around and stay a while. So as you can see with this game, the whole philosophy around it is not so much having the rhythm be a key determinant of success or failure, but more about making it an organic part of the game world. And an organic kind of punctuation to the movements of play. The rituals of play, if you will. I get a lot of reminders of, I am the only person who ever invokes these. Whoever cites these games. It's a series of puzzle games called Bit Generation. Oh, that's a great point. You tell the music what to do, not the other way around. Yes. The sounds are... It's semi-dynamic, but everything is also kind of on guide rails to the BPM. So it's more about the curiosity of interacting with something as complex as a multi-track song, rather than rhythm and on-beat being a success or failure sort of thing. Because I feel like a lot of the potential for music in games, and music being more of a living component of them, beyond, you know, this sort of dynamic director, dynamic audio we've had in shooters for like the past 20 years. I feel like that's been relatively limited by the skill ceiling of something like, rats. Yeah, it's a little bit like Sound Voyager. This and Proteus feel like similar sides, or interesting sides of a similar coin in how player action drives music. Yeah, I didn't connect the dots on this in Proteus, but you're very correct. And I guess the question is, from like a purely ludological perspective, a purely game design oriented perspective, technically, the presence of the audio does nothing to change the actual design cadence of the game, or the actual design flow of the game, you know, from a analytical standpoint. So I think the whole query here was, does this enhance the game in a meaningful way that changes the player relationship to the mechanics? I think it does. Because ultimately, game mechanics have kind of front-facing things and back-facing things, right? You have things like numbers, systems, values that drive how the emergent or sometimes deterministic outcome of the game goes, pending player input. And then you have the things I call the cadence. Or like the texture, which are all the little, everything from a button press to the way that sound and image synchronize on the screen, to how reactive or non-reactive something is, and finding the balance there. Like in a character action game, for instance, if your combat is too slow, it feels sluggish and unresponsive. If it's too fast, it feels like it doesn't have weight. So sometimes too reactive and too immediate is a little bit counterintuitively not the desired outcome. That kind of thing is such a composite experience and defines a lot of our memories. Our associated experiences of playing a game, I would argue, in a truly great game, equally or more so than, you know, pen and paper systems being simulated or run as part of a game's design. So in that sense, I would argue, yes, this is a compelling argument for having the music be a breathing part of the environment, even if it doesn't impact your actual play performance or isn't a mechanic that the player has to consider in their conditions. And I think that's kind of aligned with a lot of what I talk about on this stream. I've been thinking a lot about what makes a game aqualounge. I'm going to do a video about it. Thinking of calling it aqualounge the what? I narrowed it down to 3 things. And I think this game fits all of them. For a game to be aqualounge, it must be style-centric, in that its style is coherent, consistent, and thoughtfully integrated into all the aspects of the game, which I would argue is the case here. It has to be mechanically fresh, or not mechanically, culturally fresh, I would say. So, style-centric. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Style-centric, culturally fresh, and experiential. Those are the 3 things that I've really narrowed down to what makes a game aqualounge. And I think this checks all 3 boxes. I want to run it one more time. For those who are just joining us, this is RMG, Round Music Game. Oh, I'm going to read chat. I'm not doing that. Let's see. I'm playing a Winamp skin. Yeah, I am kind of playing a Winamp skin. RMG, does that mean RMG really lips the llama's ass? Probably does. You should get rid of the thing that says health and have the big number there. Yeah, I wonder how much that was tested or not. Yeah, but it does that minimalistic approach would fit what the game is going for very well, and that does kind of harken back to the bit generations inspiration I was talking about. There's a particular game in that series, which is all for Game Boy Advance. A couple got ports to the Wii, called Coloris, which is some of the most interesting minimal UI design I've seen in a game. And that game similarly only really uses dots or in rounded squares to communicate all information. And it's kind of complex. But yes, as far as the 3 criteria in this game, this is a great example, nice and bite-sized, of how we can talk about what makes a game aqualounge. It is absolutely style-centric. The style determines everything about the game. Everything orbits around the sound. Or I should say, everything orbits around you, and all your actions are orbiting around the sound. It's an interesting kind of concentric thing, a give and take. And so that sound really defines the style, and everything feels drawn from a similar well of inspiration. The fact that you have multi-track in and out with the multiple rings of enemies, it's consistent throughout. I'd say this is culturally fresh. It's exploring a new idea. It's exploring kind of one of the harder to quantify elements of game design, which is the experiential versus the ludological, as I kind of group it. And, as I just said, it is experiential. Experientiality is the very essence of this whole game's thesis. So, it checks all 3 boxes. I'd say this is a very aqualounge game. And, of course, the rest is personal taste. As is true in every academic, or as is true in every cultural assessment and categorization. You can quantify it with external quantifiers all you want, but ultimately, personal taste is in there somewhere. You can't ignore it. If you think that's biased, you're right. Is there a list of every game I've played on aqualounge? That's a great question, and the answer right now is no. I should probably make one of those. I could just do a Google Doc. I don't think I would list games that I'm thinking about playing, but I would list games I have played. Cameramouse.org. That's interesting. Give it one more run. Cameramouse.org. Yeah, it's a good idea to not do repeats. Yeah, because game suggestions are absolutely something that is always needed. I was up, I'm not going to lie, I was up till 3 a.m. last night trying to figure out a game to run. And this is going to become less of an issue for me as I have more dedicated aqualounge days. As some of you may know, for the next year and change, I'm going to be in a period of video game prototyping. I'm finally back to game dev. No more McDonald's land. That's done. Thank God. And so my plan is, 4 days a week, I'm going to be working on prototyping. And every Wednesday, for a full work day, I'm going to be working on aqualounge stuff. So it's true, I am kind of digging myself out of a backlog of work. But I have a dedicated day a week for that now. So that's a great thing to put on the list. And as time goes on, I'm going to get through that pile. Just got to bear with me. How many Big Macs did I consume over the course of non-standard? None. Unless you count the chicken Big Mac that I had at the Big Mac Museum, in which case 1. You joke about non-standard Burger King, but I did try that. There weren't enough. There aren't none, but there weren't enough. Just to drive all you lost media heads crazy, though, there is currently a Burger King touch kiosk activity center that I believe is lost media at the present. That all ran on special touchscreen iMac G3s in certain restaurants. But yeah, a game list of played games definitely is something that I have to have. Also, I have to say the chain mechanics in this with the exploding enemies remind me of Fantavision a little bit. And the closing ring reminds me of like Osu a little bit. So there's a lot of good juice in here. I'm excited to see if this game continues development after being a student project. What it might look like. And how it might look beyond one song, because, you know, designing around BPM, it's not trivial. If you're kind of dedicated to making this idea work, then you've committed to a lot. So that is interesting. Ronald needs to tackle a Senator Ben & Jerry style so I can eat at his restaurant again. Yeah. Don't eat at McDonald's right now, by the way. This is BDS target. Same with Microsoft. You won't see me playing modern Xbox products right now. Whenever anybody says Starbies, I always think of like Starbucks combined with Arby's. And there we have it. Really interesting game. And a great platform to talk about what is and what isn't aqualounge. You will probably see me talk more on that topic on the YouTube channel in the next however long it'll take for me to make another video. I haven't even started thinking about that yet. And with that, did the scheduler actually... Oh, wow, look at that. The schedule actually updated. It only took half an hour. So let's hit that. And got another game coming up for you. The feature of the night, Fragrance Point. Also, if enter text in the is around today in chat, thank you very much for making such a cool game. It was really a privilege to be able to sit in on it. Changing over to Fragrance Point here in a minute. But for now, watch this.